everyone. This is River Navarro. I'm the Director of Clinical Services at Bakersfield Behavioral Healthcare Hospital. It feels great to be back. I haven't done a video in a while, so I'm really excited. I want to say hello to all of our Facebook family and friends. I'd like to wish everyone a happy Wellness Wednesday. And I'd like to talk about something very different and very special to my heart. So I'm just going to jump right in. The theme of the video will be declutter your life. Okay, so we're going to talk about decluttering today. So let me tell you what I mean by that. And this is just my own made up definition. So this isn't, I didn't find this online. This is just me on the fly. So my definition of decluttering means it is the process of getting rid of things you don't need in your life to make space for the things that do need to be in your life, right? Making space for the things that matter. So when a lot of people talk about this concept of, decluttering, they often see it as, oh, but I have to get rid of stuff, right? So, but the truth is, we tend to keep a lot of different things in our lives that don't really need to be there. So are you really, it's like, yes, there's an aspect of giving something up, but it's because you're making room or making space for what does need to be in your life. That can be your values, that can be other things, that can be other people, experiences, so on and so forth. The things that matter most to you in life, that's what should actually be there all along, right? So having said that, I'm going to give you some different examples of things that you might want to consider decluttering in your life. And then, of course, we'll get into the benefits of it, right? Like, what does all this mean? How is this going to benefit you in real time? And then we'll talk about some tips and just different things to consider if you want to go through this type of process. And then, of course, I'm going to link it into mindfulness because mindfulness is one of my favorite things. So we got to do that too. All right, so different things you may want to consider decluttering in your life. Social media, apps, emails. So I remember one of my friends had like over 1,000 emails, and I was like, how does that even happen, right? But emails are rolling in all the time. And a lot of people don't check their emails every day. So it might be, good practice to kind of daily go through, sort, delete what you don't need, respond to what you need to, and only really keep emails that you have to maybe respond to right away or something like that. Or maybe some things need to be moved into different folders or organized and that kind of thing. A lot of people have a lot of extra apps on their phones that they're just not using. Or, people find themselves, being on social media and things like that, but that they don't really care to anymore. Or maybe you want to consider taking a break from certain things, whether it's, Facebook, Instagram, any other social media sites or things like that that maybe just aren't working for you right now or that kind of thing. It's okay to take a break. It's okay to delete apps. Just get rid of stuff you don't need and clean your phone up. Paper clutter. So this is a big one. A lot of people are, pretty old school. They keep a lot of different records, paper, junk mail. I mean, the paper just keeps rolling in, right? And there's a lot of different ways to declutter that, but consider, shredding and recycling paper that you don't need. Or if you have a lot of extra magazines or other forms of paper, maybe you could donate those things. For example, you could donate things like that to our hospital, right? There's always people that, need, things to read, or, there's homeless shelters. There's all sorts of places that will take that stuff off your hands because they need it. So just some things to consider about paper. Expired or broken items. So when was the last time you went through your fridge or your pantry and just got rid of anything that was expired? I mean, you obviously can't eat it, right? Or what about foods you're just not going to eat? That could be donated. that could be given to another person that is really going to use that item. Broken things, of course, if you're not going to fix it within the next month, get rid of it, right? It's just taking up space. Sentimental stuff or items, right? So, I know some people that keep every single card that's ever been given to them, and that's great. And I definitely do encourage people to keep some things that definitely make you feel good about yourself, things that bring up positive feelings. Sure, keep those things, but not every single sentimental item is going to evoke a positive emotion or experience. So really consider maybe sorting through and thinning out a little bit. And then, of course, there are people and relationships, right? So I don't know about you. If you've ever been friends with a person or had this contact that it's like they were okay, or there was just something about them and you couldn't put your finger on it and it just didn't feel right, that's okay. Not everyone serves a purpose in your life anymore, right? Relationships come and go, people grow and change. That's just the natural way of things, and there's nothing wrong with that. So maybe just consider reevaluating kind of who you're keeping in your circle, who you're keeping in your life, the purpose that they serve, what they add to your life, that kind of thing. And you definitely want to keep those special people around, right? So some benefits to decluttering all these different things. You will experience a reduction in depression and anxiety, right? Because your life is going to be more organized. You will feel free. You will have more clarity and ability to focus. That's a big one for me. Sense of accomplishment, right? Because you did a thing. You did something cool. You will find a purpose or your purpose in life. It is easier to clean your space or your home, and you will have more time to enjoy things that happen in the present moment, right? Because you're not thinking about all that stuff that you have, to clean or organize or deal with. It's just taking up extra room in your life that's not leaving that space for you to be mindful. Beyond that, there are, I'm sure, way more benefits than what I just came up with, but those are just a few things that I thought of. And these are just some tips. These are things to also consider, if you want to do some of this stuff. Consider donating items. And, there's donation sites everywhere. Some places will come and pick up from your home. Also, it's kind of on the, along the same lines, consider giving items to a friend, family member, or someone that you know. I do this all the time. I may have an item I purchased with the intention of using, but for some reason it's just, that's not really my style anymore. That's just not really me, or I have found something better, something else that I would prefer to use in place of that item. But I know my coworker, or I know my nephew, or I know this other person that probably would use that item. So I am notorious for texting people, calling people, emailing people, reaching out and saying, hey, I have these items, you're more than welcome to look through them, or I thought of you and thought you might be able to use this item. Okay, maybe I can drop it off curbside, because we're in a pandemic. Or, maybe I can leave it outside my home at this time, right? And you can come get it. And if I just can't find anyone, at that point I'm donating, right? So you'd be surprised. You probably have things that other people need or could use. And then, of course, consider donating to local shelters, women's homes, our hospital. I mean, there's so many different places that you'd be surprised could really use some of your things. Go through and delete emails that you don't need. So I did kind of mention that earlier, but emails are one of those things that people just tend to neglect, and it just, it adds up quickly, and then you end up getting overwhelmed. Then it's like, well, I don't want to do it. And then when you do sit down to do it, now there's thousands of emails and it's just overwhelming. So it is one of those things that once you get it to a point where it's manageable, it's easier, to deal with over time. Consider deleting apps from your phone that you're not using, right? It's just taking up space, doesn't need to be there. Evaluate relationships, mentioned that earlier too. Think about the people you're keeping around in your life, how they're hopefully positively benefiting you, so on and so forth. Consider sorting through sentimental items and some things you may not need anymore. And this is probably something that's often overlooked, so I'll just throw it out there. Because I mentioned earlier that people change, people evolve, and people grow, right? And that's good. We should welcome those changes. So as you change, your interests change, the things that you need change. A lot of different things in your life change and need to be reevaluated. So it's really important to think about who you are as a person now. Okay, so not who you were in the past, not who you think you're going to be. You're anticipating what kind of person you're going to be, next month, 5 years from now, and it is good to occasionally think about yourself in the past and hopefully in the future as you're working on goals. But the key here is to really be present in the moment and think about who you are as a person now, right? And if these are things you decide you need later, you can get them again, right? But there's a lot of things that people tend to hold on to because it's part of a past identity or it's part of who they were. And it is possible to outgrow things. So that's probably a consideration that a lot of people don't take into account that I think is really important. So how all of this ties into mindfulness, because I usually do a separate mindfulness video as well. But I thought that the process of decluttering, it is an act of mindfulness, right? So if you're sorting through your things, you've taken into account everything I've mentioned, you're decluttering your life or you're engaging in this process, you are automatically practicing mindfulness. So mindfulness is being present in the moment without judgment. So if you are making a conscious decision to declutter some aspect of your life, you are practicing mindfulness. So this is a perfect way to be able to practice your mindfulness skills, right? And think about who you are as a person now and what you need in your life now. So having said that, I hope this video was helpful and I look forward to bringing you more information next week. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.